When a casualty arrives on board RFA Argus, they're in good hands. As a hospital ship, her main role is to receive and treat casualties, which means she's fitted out to the standard of an NHS hospital on land. She has everything you'd normally see in a trauma hospital and can take 100 patients at a time.
That's 10 intensive care beds, 4 theatre tables, 4 resus bays and 70 beds in the wards.
There are pathology labs for diagnosis and a brand new CT scanner, which proved critical to saving lives in Afghanistan.
And all the lessons we've learnt from that, because we've all deployed there several times, we've brought very much now into the maritime environment. Thinking back to the last decade of conflict that we've been through, we're talking everything from IEDs through to gunshot wounds and the whole range of other traumas that you see, the non-battle injuries as well, vehicle accidents, rollovers and so on.
Following that diagnosis, specialist surgeons are on hand for the seriously injured. The ship is self-sufficient and can store drugs and up to 600 units of blood on board.
All our surgeons here have all been out to Herat to Bastion. I've been out there 5 times myself and worked in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we're all used to dealing with the traumas that we see. So I think this is a very capable capability.
Although it's a skilled team, the aim is to evacuate casualties back to the UK, but that can take up to 7 days, so the hospital is well equipped to cope with even the most seriously injured for that length of time. Its high dependency unit can hold 20 patients for monitoring or rehabilitation.
The bed spaces are fully monitored, which means we can look after the patients 24 hours a day. It just gives us that little bit extra room that we need to manoeuvre patients. Post-operatively, they'd probably come here, the grand majority of patients who need a wee bit more room to move and manoeuvre.
Over in the general wards, the mental health team is on hand to treat psychological trauma. Eye movement desensitisation is just one of the techniques they use.
As you can see, the basic premise is that by watching the eye movements as you're thinking about the trauma, it enables the individual then to process that trauma in a much more normalised way and deal with some of those difficulties.
Unlike an official hospital ship, Argus carries defensive weapons, making her a legitimate target for the enemy. And that means the medical staff are not protected by Geneva Conventions, although they see that as beneficial.
It allows us to get the ship right up close to the insertion points. If you can imagine being the enemy sitting there looking at a white ship sitting off the coast, it acts as a big target. We're grey, we blend in with the other ships, you don't know that we're there, we can be armed so we can defend against air attack, and we can have other assets on, so we can carry Royal Marines, we can carry cars, tanks, etc. on the flight deck, and we can have helicopters on board.
Ultrasound, can we get you to come in and start the ultrasound, please?
This versatile capability acts as reassurance for the soldiers and Marines that if the worst should happen, the very best medical care isn't far away. Charlotte Cross, Forces News, RFA Argus.